All right. My story is called Catoctin Skate Park. There are many places where I'm spending my time, but my favorite place is Catoctin Skate Park. It is located in Leesburg, Virginia. I've been going to the skate park for many years and got bored being there. There are many reasons why it's my favorite place to be. The skating bowl, the people, the thrill are the three main reasons why it's my favorite place. Um, the skating bowl is one of the reasons why it's my favorite place because it has the perfect addition to the rest of the skate park. So the bowl has like two sections. There's like a smaller side, and it's better for skaters with not much experience and learning how to ride the bowl. And then it has a bigger side, which is like deeper. It has more of a vertical depth. The flooring in the bowl is smooth and clean, perfect for cruising with high speed. The pipes that are along the outer frame of the bowl are smooth as butter. So if you're going with high speed for a grind, the skateboard would glide straight through it. There's also a part of the bowl that divides the two sections, which is called the spine. The spine is a thin part that has a metal pipe dividing the two sections. Another reason why the skate park is my favorite place is because of the people. Countless people at the skate park. I'm currently still close friends with some people from the skate park. The people made skating more exciting and thrilling. For example, if you were doing a trick, other skaters would excite you and give you the motivation to commit to the trick. So if it weren't for the people skating at the skate park, it would not be as fun as it is. The people at the skate park are helpful, welcoming, and if you need help on a trick land, other skaters that are more advanced in skating can teach on how to land it. The last reason is the thrill. The satisfaction you receive from landing a trick that you've been attempting for weeks is the best feeling from skating. I don't only get satisfaction from landing tricks, but just being at the skate park also does. It feels like home to me. It starts to get way more enjoyable when you start to do lines of tricks along with the skate park. The more a person skates, the more consistent the person gets in his and her tricks. And if you get consistent with your tricks, then you can knock out any obstacle and keep skating, which makes skating much more fun. Doing lines of tricks is coming to me because I'm familiar with the obstacles park and I know how to bail out of a trick if I think I'm going to fall. Another reason why skating is entertaining is that I get to compete with other people at the skate park. Other skaters would set up games to see who would land a trick or a line of tricks first. Skaters would even have a cash prize for the winner to make it even more interesting and competitive. Not only is participating in these competitions fun, but watching it is also entertaining. In conclusion, Catoctin Skate Park is my favorite place to be. Everything about it is exciting and fun, and I've been going to the skate park for many years. It still does not fail to entertain me. The people, the skating bowl, and the thrill are the three main reasons why it's my favorite place to be. Skating will always be my favorite hobby. I've created many long-lasting memories at the skate park and I wish to create more.
All right. I liked the way that you gave like specific points of why you chose that topic to talk about for your speech. That was good. Yeah.
I liked how like how passionate you were about skating, and it was really well written.
Yes.
All right. Okay. My turn. 1 second. Okay. Hi guys, I'm Jackie, and I've always been a pretty shy girl, especially in high school. I wasn't great at meeting new people or making new friends, and it was even worse when it came to boys. I grew up in a very strict Catholic household where talking to boys was completely off limits, and consequently, I had no experience with how to handle boys. So in my junior year of high school, when this guy I only kind of knew, we'll call him George, started talking to me over social media, I was terrified. He was a friend of a friend from church, but I really didn't know him and we had never talked before. So when he started responding to my Instagram stories here and there, I was kind of like, what the heck? Who is this boy? What does he want from me? Does he like me? What's going on? And as the frequency of his texts increased, so did my anxiety. As I said, I was never good at talking to new people, and especially not boys. Every time I saw a notification from him, my heart started pounding a little faster. And one day, out of the blue, he asked me if I had ever modeled before. I remember thinking to myself, is this him hitting on me? Like, how am I even supposed to respond to this? As it turns out, George owned a small business clothing line and needed models for some of the new pieces. So he was asking me if I could model for a photo shoot that summer. Now, surprise, surprise, being the little nervous wreck that I was, I had so many hesitations. I didn't know this boy at all. I couldn't tell his intentions, and not to mention, I had never modeled before. However, I knew I was getting older and I knew I needed to learn how to meet new people and be better at socializing. Like, what was I going to do when I went to college? I was going to end up with no friends. So, as anxious as I knew I needed to face this fear and I said yes to George. A couple weeks go by and the day of the shoot comes. Now, let me preface this by saying I'm really bad at being on time. So, the morning of, I woke up super early and I laid out what I wanted to wear and I did a face mask because I wanted to feel really prepared and have everything in place so I could make sure I was there on time. Unfortunately for me, that did not end up being the case. So the time was at hand for me to head over to the shoot, and I was so nervous that at the very last minute, I ended up begging one of my friends to come with me just to ease my nerves and help me feel less awkward. And thank God she agreed. So on the way over, I decided to pick up some coffee for her as a thank you for coming with me. And this is where things start to go downhill. I got the coffee and I went over to my car and I put the coffee on top of my car to open the door. And when I open it, the coffee tips over, spilling all over my perfectly planned outfit. Now, not only was I drowning in fear, but I was covered in coffee as well. I absolutely freaked out and went to my friend's house to clean up. And before I knew it, I was over 2 hours late to the photo shoot. Missed calls from George, along with my fear and anxiety, were piling up as I drove over to meet this boy I didn't know, wearing an outfit I hadn't chosen, and smelling like coffee. Luckily, when we showed up, George was super sweet and kind and didn't mind how late we were. And the photo shoot actually ends up going pretty well. Despite the mess of the day I had and all the anxiety, I was proud of myself for getting out of my comfort zone and putting myself out there. A couple months later, George actually ended up becoming my first boyfriend. Who would have thought? I learned that day how to say yes, even when the situation is unfamiliar and the outcome is uncertain, because you never know what good might be right around the corner. Thank you for listening.
That was good. I really liked how like I felt like I was on FaceTime and like I never got bored. And I could tell like when like the introduction, the body, and the conclusion were. So that's what I liked about it.
Thank you.
I liked how you had like comments on what you were actually thinking in the moment. I think that's pretty cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, my turn. Hi, my name is Avan, and this is a story about my grandparents. They say that blood is thicker than water, which implies that the bond we share with our family will never be as strong as the bond we have with friends. And although that might not be the case for some people, it applies to me. We all have that one family member we love, whether it is a cousin or a sibling. That love that we have towards them will never compare. It is important to spend time with the one you love because you'll never know when it's going to be your last chance to see them. Let me take you back to a time when I took my grandparents' presence for granted, a time in life where I regretted everything in a matter of seconds. Winter of 2015, San Diego, California. I was about 12 years old around this time, born and raised in San Diego. It was that time of week when my mom would take us to see our grandparents. My mom took us every week to see our grandparents, which were her parents, and I hated it. Not because I hated my grandparents, but the simple fact that they didn't have Wi-Fi. Yes, I was one of those kids. We had gone over to their house one winter afternoon, and I didn't want to go because I was in the stage of my life where I was constantly on Musical.ly. And as much as I hate to say it now, yes, I was that girl that thought they would become famous off of Musical.ly. When we got to their house, I was greeted with a bunch of kisses and hugs. There was a lot of talking between my mom and her parents while my siblings just sat there. For reasons I didn't understand at the moment, but I understand now that I got older, my grandpa had come up to us and sat with my siblings and I to tell us a story. Once he started telling us his story, I then realized I've heard the story plenty of times, so I put my attention towards my phone. My grandpa has dementia, so it's common for him to forget. I never fully understood the fact that he would forget literally everything, but that specific story he would always tell us. I realize now that the story he would always tell us was the only story he could remember from his past. And as a grandpa, he wanted to better his relationship with his grandchildren. Fast forward to March of 2020, both my grandparents had moved back to the Middle East around this time. So I never really knew when the next time I would see them. We had gotten a message in the family group chat in the beginning of March that both my grandparents were really sick, and my uncle wanted each and every one of us to send them a video. I kept telling myself I would send that video after practice or homework or whatever excuse I had, but I never sent it. Until this day, I regret it. The 18th of March rolled around and a message from my uncle was sent saying that my grandma had passed. My heart dropped. I was devastated. It is now the 31st of March and another message from my uncle is sent. I didn't want to look at it because I already knew what it was. When I finally built up the courage to look at it, I froze. Grandpa had passed away at 12 a.m. this morning. As I read those words, I began to remember that story. Regret was all I was feeling. To wrap up, I knew in that moment I was going to face a lot of regret in my life. Until this day, I still carry that regret. I might have been young, but it still haunts me knowing how hard my grandparents were trying to make a better relationship with us grandchildren. And although they both passed away peacefully in a place where they both wanted to be buried, I'm selfish to say that I want them here. There is no love that can compare to the love that one has towards their grandchildren, and it hurts knowing that that story was my grandpa's way of showing his love. I learned that it is important to show gratitude to your loved ones because it might be your last chance, especially if it's your last chance. So it was March 31st, 2020 in San Diego, California. Seconds after that message, I was filled with regret. Thank you.
I really liked it. I liked how you used like expressive language and you kept like a serious tone throughout, but you also like added some humor here and there. I think it made it like really relatable and personal. And yeah, I liked it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I really liked how you at the beginning of your story you like flashed back pretty nicely. I don't know. I really liked how you flashed back at the beginning of the story. Also, I liked it.
Thank you.